Quorum being present, we'll call the meeting to order at 6:02. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good evening, everybody. First item on the agenda is approval of our regular session meeting minutes from January 20th, 2026. Is there a motion to approve?
We haven't, if I can find it, I'm sorry.
Motion's been made to approve.
No, I have a couple, when we're talking about the minutes,
Yeah.
I just didn't hear, we have a couple of edits, because it says
Yep.
December 16th on the top of them, and I was also a
We still
present.
need a motion and a second, then we
Oh,
can
so
discuss
moved.
amendments.
Sorry.
Our motion's been made by Mrs. Guston, seconded by Mr. Haggerty. Now, Jen, what are the edits?
I thought that had already been done.
No,
Sorry.
that's all right.
It looks like the date on the top of it is incorrect.
Yeah, it's in the header, until it shows up on page 2 and 3.
And then, I was here for the meeting, I was present, and it says on line 1, Mr. Haggerty, Valenzola.
Yes, that's what it was.
It was actually Haggerty, Valenzola was not.
Not here, yeah. So just a couple of edits.
Maybe they have us listed as a married
I
couple.
was gonna say,
With no data,
that
with no
should
hyphen.
be, that should have been Valenzola Haggerty. All right, and you had an edit, Christine?
Jen already addressed it,
That was
thank you.
Excellent.
Sorry,
Okay.
listed them all.
That's fine.
All right, so we've got a motion to amend as outlined. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, motion to amend and seconded. Let's first vote on the amendment. Are there any objections to the amendment? Hearing none, by unanimous consent, motion carries. We'll move back to previous question. Further discussion on the minutes as amended? Any objection? Hearing none, by unanimous consent, the motion carries as amended. All right. Brings us to our financial report.
For our fiscal '26 budget, we are moving along. Obviously, the conversation is next year's budget tonight, but if there are any questions, I'm more than happy to do my best to respond to them.
Questions on the financial report? All right, thank you, Mrs. Mayo. Will bring us to our student reports.
So it was an off meeting night with the snow days. Kiki and Ben have had a few other commitments, but we're pretty pleased I would like to introduce Ms. Louise Terwilliger, junior at the school and a member of our RSAC board. She's here this evening to give her first report of the RSAC meetings, which, as you may recall, is a partnership between the school committee and the pipeline directly to students. So I don't participate in these meetings, so Louise could have lots of things to say that
Great.
I don't even know.
All right, Louise, the floor is yours.
Well, I know you thought I had a lot to say. I don't have a ton to say, but basically we just met with a couple of the board members and just gone over how school's going, what we like, what we don't like. We talked about like APs and the block schedule, things like that, but I wouldn't say we've gotten into any like really deep stuff yet. It's still kind of a little bit introductory, I think. But yeah.
Questions for Louise? Which one of, Bill, you were at the meeting, weren't you?
Which one?
Were you at the
Three
RSAC
RSAC
meeting?
meetings?
The Student Advisory Council
Yeah.
meeting? Yeah. Actually, there were three of us. Eric was there and Megan was there.
Great. When is the next one?
Did you catch it?
Next one is April 3rd. I can send that to you. I'll send it out. I send out a reminder.
Yeah, I mean, if you could send the next two out like you've been doing, that's good.
I'll send out the next two. They're in the Cornerstone, and I think it's nice for the students to be able to connect directly with you all. So thank you, Louise, for volunteering to be the first one to report out.
Sure.
We appreciate you coming in.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. All right, now you're going to get your Dr. Dufresne with his report, so Dr. Dufresne, we'll let you go first because I know you've got some equipment you want to chat about.
So I do, and I'd like to thank Ms. Leo and her office, because after having discussions about this, I completely forgot till I saw it on the agenda today and panicked that I had a report I didn't remember. So we have some surplus equipment in the school cafeteria area from events past. It is taking up some of the limited yet valuable storage space that we have at the high school, and I'm happy to list those off for you. But we have over 400 plates, almost 400 bowls, small plates, over 500 coffee cups, saucers, water glasses, some cup holders and dish racks, and they have been used. I believe the last time they were used, as reported to me, was prior to COVID, and for an event that doesn't happen anymore, and I believe there is some value to those pieces of equipment that we are not using, and so following sort of municipal surplus guidelines, this would be the first step in moving them on somewhere else.
So what's interesting, I think we're asking you to deem them obsolete. I am 99.9% sure we got them as a donation, and I can't remember from where. So they're China, they're formal dishware, that the last time I remember using them is when we used to have a formal honor banquet.
There was the honors.
The honors
reception,
banquet,
the
that
full-
there'd
the
be
full
kitchen,
banquet,
cooking
yeah.
happening in the kitchen and form of that Chinaware, and it's now taking up space, and we have different events that we've just kind of pivoted a little bit, and we run them differently, so.
Bill, based upon the minutes, we can put those on our registry.
Consider it the high school's gift to,
We were thinking, once you deem obsolete, that we would first maybe just check out to the town, see if there's any senior centers or anything that can use any of it or all of it, and if not, we'll put it up on municipal bid and see if we can get a few dollars.
Are you handing something out?
You have a.
You have copies?
You can't do a
Probably good of.
fundraiser or fling a plate or something.
Yikes, right?
Exactly.
I trust you now.
I know, exactly.
But you could have
You go to all these weddings, they're never on.
You could have an
It's Wednesday, we're all.
Yeah.
I know.
It's like Monday.
That would be a good retreat.
So you mentioned senior centers, can you also reach out to local food services agencies?
Yes.
The Homes of Love, stuff like that.
Absolutely. Do you have any in particular?
Well, I work for one out of Metro West, I work for Advocates, but I know there's more local ones.
Sure.
I know Advocates would take them in a second.
If we don't get someone local, I'll let you know.
Thank you.
Thank you, Megan.
I'll make that.
I have extras if, no one wants my extras.
Yeah, you can have those.
You don't have to list on my plate.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to declare the items as presented by Dr. Dufresne obsolete. Motion's been made by Mrs. Randall. Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Mrs. Hustings. Further discussion on that? Any objection? By unanimous consent, motion carries.
Thank you.
All right. Jamie, good evening.
Hi, good evening. Is everybody happy that we're here and not snowed out again? All right, so just a quick update. One great notation, one of our advanced manufacturing teachers had her baby. I was a little concerned because she was leaving behind Stephen Moran, a new teacher in advanced manufacturing, but we were able to get Pat LaRiviere, a retiree, back. He still has his license. Things are going fantastic. He and Stephen are getting along really well. Obviously, he was Stephen's teacher, and our current students are really taking to him. So we are very fortunate to have him and his expertise in the manufacturing shop. They were the recipients of the Haas grant. They received over $20,000, and they are spending that on updating some equipment that they already have that needs replacement. I'll have that in my next report for you. And then they are trying to build some camaraderie in that program and look more uniformed, and they're going to be purchasing some sweatshirts that have advanced manufacturing on them and just have a little bit more pride and more spirit in that program. So we're excited about that. Last exploratory, despite all of the snow days, we've adjusted a little bit and adapted. The last rotation will start on March 4th. which is a very big deal for all of our freshmen. They are very excited. We will have our non-traditional programming for them on the 20th. That's when our students, our upperclassmen, will come in and talk to them a little bit about each shop again. Then we'll be showing them that new slideshow on, kind of the what it takes to be in that program for the long haul. And then we're hoping to have placement by March 23rd. And we will be announcing that in Power School this year versus the former assembly. So it'll be in Power School. Students will see that when they come in that morning. They'll go right to that, right to their new placement. A couple other things in carpentry. The seniors have been out finalizing the project from last year at the trail. Now they're back at the garage making progress with siding. One of the Perkins grant, we were able to acquire a cutter, and they're able to kind of get that siding on a little bit more quickly. Obviously with the weather, things are moving a little bit slower, but we are making progress there. And we were asked today by the Sturbridge Police Department if there were any students that would be willing to come over and support an elderly couple with shoveling out. They're unable to get out, so our carpentry students tomorrow will head over there on their way to the lumberyard and volunteer their time with Officer Ben. So that's really nice. We're excited that our students can get out for some community service. Other than that, I mean, everybody's really just plugging along. Our new teachers are doing great. Our new junior electrical teacher is doing really well. Gone in there several times, and he's adapting. So things are good. I feel like we've been out of school too long, but we're still making good progress.
Great. Any questions, Ms. Rubidoux? Yes.
Do we need to accept the FOSS grant, or has that already been voted on?
Yeah, no, we probably have not, thank you, good
Oh,
catch.
that's great, okay. Do you want me to put that in for next?
Since it's in your report, we can ask for the acceptance.
You making the
today.
motion?
Great.
Yes, I move we accept it. Was it 20,000?
I believe it was 24. It's typically 20, but let me double check please on that.
Just say up to.
Up to,
Yep.
Up to 24.
24,000 from the House Foundation?
Yes.
We have a motion made by Mrs. Lamer O'Kane. I heard a second by Mrs. Noyes Miller. Discussion on that grant approval?
I believe it's given almost every year is my understanding, and it did come earlier, so we just started accessing funds.
Yep. All right, any objection? Hearing none by unanimous consent, the motion carries. Thank you. Mr. Sturgis, let you go last tonight.
I know, I was coming off guard.
I owed you one after the budget hearing.
That's a big man.
All right, we're all friends still. Just a couple of things on it outside the report. I mean, I included students in the month, or we switched over students in the quarter to recognize groups of kids from each team rather than every month to make it more impactful and celebrate them. For the purpose of that, is also, if you notice, also a lot of this was the music performers reward awards given out for the Between the Cloud and Valley Festival and the Central District Youth Band. And of course, a lot of the names copycat, they're in both lists because the kids, these are just some great kids that are involved all around. Some of these kids are also basketball players who just did all these accolades during basketball season on top of everything else. So it's a pretty impressive body of work by a small group of our kids in the building. We did have a Safer Internet Day. This year we focused on, we didn't do it last year. The exploratory classes did a school-wide project to focus on AI and trying to help kids learn how to navigate fake things on the internet and how to take a headline that may be kind of inflammatory and then how to check the sources and make sure that it's a different way of doing works cited than some of us had to do in high school. But it was a very valuable lesson. It was fun, designed to be fun for them, but it was valuable because we're all living in the world where they're on social media getting hit with tons of things that are wildly inaccurate at times, and so helping them figure that out is valuable to their real world skills. We did start we're in the second half of the year, 90 days to summer, so we are focusing on that transition to high school. We've had high school presentations, we've had the band chorus, and Mr. Dufresne, actually, Dr. Dufresne joined us There were presentations to our 8th grade music students. We've had our high school guidance folks led mostly by Anne Marie Flanagan, with Mr. Rogalski was here as well to present about the course selection process to the 8th graders. And starting today, would have started yesterday, snow day didn't help. Mrs. Flanagan was here starting the one-on-one meetings with every single 8th grader that'll take place over the next couple of weeks to allow them to get a name to a face of a counselor at the high school now, while also walking them through the course selection process. So it's better than just giving them a big presentation, a sheet of paper, and asking them to pick courses. And our teachers have completed their recommendations as well, so the fear and panic of transitioning to high school has started. We'll do our part over the next 3 months, 4 months to ease that burden, and the high school always does a great job as we get closer to June of getting them set up and excited and far less nervous by that point. So, but this is the time of year, as crazy as it seems, that we are shifting gears towards that. And then last but not least, I did include, and last month I did ELA, this month we did a spotlight on the math department, just trying to provide information to you folks on strategies, things we're doing to take steps towards improving our MCAS scores, although we know that's not the ultimate test of what kids learn in school, but it is a very public barometer, and we're making every effort to improve those scores on our end. And as you can see in our spotlight department, a lot of it is incorporating MCAS type questions and actually teaching them how to interpret the questions properly. We learned that last year, a lot of the kids told us that there's words in the questions they didn't understand in a math test. They screwed up the math part of it because they didn't understand the English part of it. So we're working on teaching them what that is. We're also trying to bring back the math department, really focusing on, and ELA had an ed department as well, as convincing them, again, that the test does matter. Because last year they were told and convinced that it didn't matter, and there was a lot of low affect in taking the test last year. We're trying to rebuild that, whether no matter what it means to high school graduation, to us it still is a test that we're really trying to get them to work their hardest on. So that's what I have for now. Does anyone have any questions for me?
How many students participated in the Safer Internet Day?
Probably about 450 of them. We're close to all of them because it's through the exploratory, and every student has a exploratory cycle. The hard part was in our schedule, every student had 2 exploratory classes, so some kids got it twice in a day, and other kids, the band and chorus kids, or students who had reinforcement or a reading class, they got it once. So actually, I'd probably say close to almost every student participated in it that day.
Thank you, Mr. Sturgis. That'll bring us to committee reports. Oh, sorry.
I just wanted to thank Greg for the explanation on the MCAS remediation. It's good to read.
Thank you. We'll include science in the next one.
Which, if everyone's okay, I did already let the principals know we would probably give them a pass at the written principal's report for our next meeting because that's in 2 weeks. So I did say it would probably be fine not to have a written, but be ready to have a nice hearty oral report.
So we'll do science and civics in April.
Mrs. Noyes Miller.
Okay, we've had a couple meetings since our previous meeting, budget subcommittee. And we would like to bring forth a total operating budget for fiscal year 2027 of $30,429,531, which was a unanimous vote of the budget subcommittee. As you can see in your packet, that would be net increase of the percentage of 3.69%, which is questionable if the towns can afford such a thing, and we were hoping to get a few positions back into the budget from rural aid, that were in rural aid. But we are looking at still funding through rural aid. Our revenues are down, particularly the tech division, and also our Chapter 70 money is not increased substantially at all. And Deb was going to speak to the rural aid.
Yeah, I'll
Just
I'll do a
before you-
little,
just
yeah.
Before you do that,
Yeah.
to remind folks on process, so tonight we vote the figure we want to bring forward to the public hearing. By law, we can always reduce that figure after tonight's vote, but we can't increase it. So we do generally put forward a figure that represents what we believe is most critical operationally, knowing that there's still obviously a lot that needs to be flushed out. Deb will speak about the rural aid, but, Chapter 70 is no, committed number just yet. The process on Beacon Hill goes close to the summer. So we'll proceed with our public hearing. We will then proceed at that evening, making a final decision on what we want to establish the budget to be, and then that will allow us to determine assessments. But if there is, any significant change that we become aware of between tonight and the public hearing, then obviously we have the ability to edit the number, but we can't go up. So we would only be able to go down, and that's why we're bringing this figure forward.
So, also to clarify around rural aid, there is a lot to be said around the state budget. We have not met since the initial state budget came out. Initial state budget is not a friend of ours. From a Chapter 70 perspective, all of our districts are looking at just the minimum, which this year was $150 per student. Governor's budget has 75. It did start at 75 last year, and the House and Senate got it up to 150. So Sally Sunshine is banking on it getting up to 150, but $150 a student is nothing. I mean, to be at minimum aid is not good. Our local aid, arts and lottery, or UGA, general government money, is up even less than that. So the money coming from the state to our local communities is a pittance, which is not new, but it is an increasing problem across the state. And I'll digress on that in a second. What this budget here represents, the 3.69 is everything with two exceptions that we currently have going on this year. So even the couple of positions that we have been paying for from rural aid, they're in here. We made a number of reductions to get through the budget last year. Those reductions, most of them were decreasing, we're not having some stipended positions, tightening up some variable costs, supplies, texts. Two items as we worked through this that the principals felt strongly they wanted to put back in. At the junior high level, Greg's priority was to get junior high intramurals back in. So that is in here. At the high school level is freshman volleyball. So freshman basketball is still not in here. There's a number of other stipends that aren't in here, but that's what the gentleman felt was going to have the most impact to the most amount of students, and they really wanted to get back in. Everything else is held here. 3.69 isn't terrible, considering we're in charge of our own insurances, our own both liability as well as health insurance. Worcester County retirement assessment is up 10%. But that 3.69%, while we haven't put assessments out yet, we've obviously been crunching numbers and shared some with the budget. And that 3.69%, all things being equal, is not going to be something attainable because our 5-town assessments would be in the 8 to 10% increase because of the continuing decline in those out-of-district technical tuitions. It's another $250,000. Again, great that we have so many 8th graders that want to go into the Chapter 74 programs. Not great, we have zero space for anybody outside to pay us to send their students. So we knew this, we're just reminding you all that's going to continue. So that leaves us low state and a decreasing revenue stream there. So before I even said let's do this 3.69, I got on the phone with Todd Smola. So I had my first conversation with legislators. Actually today I sat with Senator Fatman for a little bit at a breakfast. But when I called Todd, I did say to him, I'm not asking you right now to tell me where rural aid will land. Governor's budget has rural aid in there at a higher amount than this year. I think it was higher last year, and then it dropped a little bit as it went through the House and the Senate. My question to Representative Smola was, in all of your conversations with all of your peers in the House, the Senate, is there any whisper of rural aid going away this year or in the future? And his response was, no, and if you're hearing that, Deb, I want to know where from. I said, that's all I needed to hear. So that's all I wanted to hear, because we've heard over and over again the last couple of years that they acknowledge rural aid is a thing and needs to be a thing, and my fight is get it into the Chapter 70 formula. They are acknowledging the plight of the rural communities even more than ever, because not only schools, police, fire are gonna fall apart if you keep relying on the local community to pass Proposition 2.5 overrides. It's not gonna happen. So he was completely in agreement and said they already know that the state's gotta start looking at what they're doing with Chapter 70 and local aid, because more and more communities are at max ceiling. So with that being said, everyone acknowledges rural aid is here to say, we don't know for sure the amount. I know the number that the rural aid study said was $60 million is 3 times what the governor's got in the budget for round 1, and that's what they're pushing for long term. I'm not foolish enough to think that's gonna happen this year. But that being said, I said to him, then this is what's going to happen, Representative Smola. I am finally going to be in the place where I'm going to break my own rule, and I'm going to put us out on a little cliff, because I'm going to have a hard time cutting 6 to 7 staff positions, which is what I think we would have to do to get our assessments to that 3 to 5% reasonable level. When I know there's a rural aid number that's, I'm not going to find out for sure what it is in October, but I know it's going to land in the budget by June 30th, and he said, you're absolutely right, Deb, I get it. My peers have been using rural aid for their operating budget for a while. So we're going to come back to you with assessments that show rural aid as a revenue stream, which we have not in the past. And I certainly won't come back and recommend everything that we think rural aid might be, and still leave a little wiggle for the emergencies that we have. And in case something goes terribly wrong from the House to the Senate. But I'm hearing and trusting our legislators to say they get it. Rural aid is here to stay. And it's intended to help us sustain. So we're going to come back to you next month with assessments showing that as revenue. And I think this 3.6% budget is attainable using the rural aid as revenues, which we haven't done in the past. Okay, I'm
So
done getting on my
We have a
horse.
recommendation of the budget subcommittee. It doesn't require a second. We'll bring it to the floor. Discussion on the budget proposal. Any objections? All right, hearing none by unanimous consent, we have a number that we will take to the public hearing.
I also just want to point out that the capital plan is in our packet that we'll be voting on in a couple weeks.
And the recommendation will be to pay that from school choice.
School choice.
As well as transportation assessments.
Correct.
Yeah. Two quick things.
Pursue it ahead of time.
2 quick things, if you don't mind. First and foremost, just a reminder to everyone, the public hearing. March is again an off-cycle meeting to make sure we have our public hearing in time before the Sturbridge Town meeting. So we are scheduled for Wednesday, March 11th. What we've done in the past is start our meeting at 6 o'clock with the public hearing, and then come after to do our regular business. So just more of a reminder, or making sure everyone's okay with that. Boy, it's gone. Oh, I know, I was gonna say. Over the next couple of weeks, again, we've started conversations with budget about funding things with rural aid. We still have to, and the principals are fully aware, over the next couple of weeks, we'll be preparing a short list of what would we be doing if we didn't have rural aid at all. Because that's gotta be part of the message that we share with our towns. We're gonna use that as a revenue source. It's a little clip, I think, right now. But if something happened and it wasn't there, or we had to go deeper, we're starting to work with having the list of where we would have to go.
Thank you. Technical. If we have that. Is there a committee meeting? I think there was.
There was.
They had a meeting.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can, yes. Do you,
who, Andy
Oh,
asked
Andy, it would
someone
be
to give the
Andy.
report. Jamie,
Who's giving?
does
the
anybody have the report?
I have his notes, so I can.
I got an email from Andy asking someone to give it. So whoever can, please do.
You do.
I got the email.
I don't know if I got the email either, but.
Okay, well, I'll start and I'll ask for assistance. Sure. So these are notes from Indy Dunn. We had a meeting on January 30th where we talked through the changes to the technical division admissions policy, which is in your packet, which the bylaw and policy committee also reviewed. So I think we'll be voting on it later. And we also were joined by Gail Espinoza, who teaches the IT program, and talked about some changes that happened this year. There were some probably minimal increases to the budget because of a change in the certification tests.
CompTIA.
Yeah.
So the certification, the program itself increased. So the students that are taking, let's say, like their ethical hacking or any of the certifications with that program, they just increased. She knew it was coming, and there was some planning for budgeting. So it's all set, and that certification has been paid for. But it was an unexpected bump in the sense that it went from around, I think, maybe 5,000 or 6,000 to like 13. So that's
Yes.
a little alarming initially. Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
submitting
yeah.
budget documents.
Yes.
Some good moving things around. We also talked about the challenges of only having one full-time teacher in that program with 60 students in the program. And Ms. Espinoza does a fantastic job. But as we consider ways to increase the number of students we can accommodate in the tech program to help our budget, these are some of the things that we're kind of talking through, some of these challenges that due to current staffing or limitations and being able to expand. We also talked about the staffing changes in the business tech program that you spoke about, and we will meet again on March 4th.
Yeah, just to clarify, the IT teacher, she does have some great numbers. She does excellent in terms of placement in job, career opportunities, and college. I don't know if you remember Zach from last year, but he won the gold at States. He was our valedictorian. She has great impact. So it really stems from the conversation that Mark had previously tried to fill the afternoon only, like the C and D blocks. But that's very limiting position and very difficult to fill. So it's obviously a long-term goal. It's nothing that needs to be solved immediately, but it was a nice conversation to have. And then she was also able to kind of talk about, just some of the needs that she has in her space. But obviously we understand that getting a teacher right now is not an option, but we are looking to potentially we support her whenever we can. If we have a sub available, I will put that sub in her classroom for C and D blocks. But it would be nice to be able to find someone more permanent.
Thank you. Curriculum.
I think I'm going to the next two reports.
Okay.
I don't have Ted's.
Bailed on me tonight.
That's what it wasn't Andy, it was Ted.
Yeah.
It was Ted.
So curriculum bylaw actually go hand in glove for a couple things, but I will take solely the curriculum updates for the handbook revisions, not the handbook revisions, the program of study revisions. So we met as a group on February 9th for curriculum. We looked at handbook revisions for both the junior and senior high. First is the senior high. There's a lot of elective changes happening
Mainly because they want to filter out electives that have been in existence for a long time but haven't been selected. So they're coming up with new electives this year, both 2.5 credits and 5 credits for all grades. Some of the courses are drama, digital storytelling, lessons in science lab, movie, memory, and American stories, history support, advanced drawing, and then a physical education one of performance and psychology. Again, they're more of elective courses, so students could take these courses if they're more current to filter out some courses that may not be selected or haven't been selected in the past couple of years. So that's the biggest change in the high school program of studies. Everything else is pretty similar. You want to take them separate. And then the junior high program of studies, if you remember last year, they came forward proposing that they take levels away out of all courses except for math. That is going very well this year, and students don't seem to be having any impact, as in negative impact, with the varying levels in a classroom. The biggest thing is that opened Pandora's box. Realized that Kayla Korch, the guidance counselor here, realized that the program of studies doesn't really align with what's in our school. So she took the liberty, she's in a leadership program this year, she took the liberty to take this under her wings to make sure that the junior high program of study is in alignment with what is actually offered. The biggest thing was, and it was most impressive, is the addition of the special ed program and what is actually what is in the system for special ed offerings, so that this program of studies document can go to grade 6 parents, grade 6 students, and it all aligns. So there are several changes in that. The other areas which were good areas. Band and chorus, there was a big change, but it's because there's actually more involvement now in band and chorus, so they had to kind of be creative with that scheduling for next year. And help me, Christine, if I'm missing
I
something.
think we're including introductory band for 8th grade students next
Yes.
year, which is
Yep.
huge.
Yes, and then academic support along with, we are looking at, because of the staffing situation, we are looking at changes in the computers versus engineering courses for the 8th grade. So those are the committee, I won't speak, Christine can say, voted unanimously in support of those changes. And as a result, because there was a unanimous consent there, I don't believe it needs to be brought to the table here.
And I'm sorry, ask that question again.
So the changes were unanimously supported for the program of studies by the subcommittee that night. So I don't know if you want to bring that forward.
So so it's a recommendation of the curriculum subcommittee, which we'll bring to the floor for a vote of the body. Discussion. All right.
Can I actually suggest one amendment? On the bus list,
Oh, we haven't gotten that far yet, because we did program of studies. So I was gonna do the handbook changes
Okay.
and
Okay.
the policies for
All right.
bylaw.
All right.
Yeah. Yes, and then so that was the program of studies, yes.
Do we have anything for the program?
No, in fact,
Right.
because the documents are just so large,
Oh.
we thought by giving a high level, they're so, the high school's
So you
document
don't have a
alone.
written summary of what she just said, you only have
There's
the handbook.
177 pages.
Well, Teddy was supposed to do that,
Just want
but
the changes.
I'm happy to write one.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to need a written report to
Yeah.
vote on. So is there anything in the handbook?
Well, the handbook, you have a summary, she hasn't gone over that.
Right here.
The
Program of
program of studies, she doesn't have in
Teddy was-
writing.
That's why I was confused. Okay.
Program of studies
I'm looking
Teddy
at
was
this.
supposed to do, but he told me 10 minutes before the meeting, so I just
Okay.
wrote I'm happy to write this up for you as the changes to the.
But even so,
Without-
yeah, we need to table it till next month for the
Okay.
program of studies.
Yes.
You can vote handbook, because we should have given that,
Just
I
2
thought they were
weeks.
all in one
We're
document.
going to table it till the
Yeah.
11th.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Okay. Handbook.
Okay, so that was curriculum, and the reason,
But they can still, if you want to go through the handbook, they can vote that tonight.
yeah, we'll do that
Yeah.
next, yep. So the reason I put handbook with second is because it also went with our bylaw and policy meeting. These handbook changes went first to the bylaw and policy, then went to the curriculum subcommittees, and both agreed. And both schools work hand in glove with one another, because if you look on the senior high handbook revisions, this was brought up over the summer that we need to look at the academic integrity language because of particularly plagiarism. And then we brought that forward to the junior high as well, and they actually agreed with their language as well. So both changes are going to be with your approval in the handbook for both, the language you see here for both junior high and senior high. Basically what it's saying, you can't plagiarize, and if you can, if you do, there are consequences. What the high school did is they looked at other high schools to see what language they had with plagiarism, and then they tailored it to their current practices. The junior high agreed with that language. They just wanted to change the final paragraph, remove the final paragraph of academic integrity and replace it with the final paragraph on the first page of your document for the senior high. And they put the consequences in there as well for plagiarism. That was one of the changes. Another change to go, if you turn the page to the senior high, on the back side, okay? Under academics, this is a regulation that we got at the beginning of the school year that we need to, it says, current language says for specific course information, that we need to make curriculum materials available to anyone who asks for it. And that was a regulation that came through in the fall that we need to put in all handbooks for the next school year. And that is also on the junior high list of changes. Okay, the last change for handbook revisions is the code of conduct chart for the high school. They're adding language to the bus rules because the junior high didn't have any bus rules language. And we brought that forward in the beginning of this school year that was already approved. And the high school wants to just add language that goes along with it. So that's the bus rules that aligns, and it actually aligns K to 12 now. The bus rules now align K to 12. So, and then finally, student discipline. There's just a clarifying question, and this comes with the policy that I'm going to bring in front of you, is that when it came to student discipline, teachers, this sentence, principals and staff shall not use academic punishment of any form or consequence to inappropriate behaviors, actions by students. They wanted more explanation on that. And we changed it in the formal policy that's in front of you. It's actually in policy JIC. So the second paragraph, they want to scratch that line and then add the bolded language. Academic work will not be used as a punishment for behavioral issues. However, students who engage in academic dishonesty, such as cheating or plagiarism, may receive appropriate academic consequences, including, and this is where the vagueness came, a 0 on an assignment. So there's just clarity now in the handbook, in the policy, and that it exists now 7 to 12. Hope that all makes sense. I'm not Michelle, that's
All right, so we're gonna do one at a time, because it's the cleanest way to do it.
Did Deb have a
Yeah.
correction?
Yeah, I did on but I think I want to add to both. So is the high school, does the high school have the whole list of bus rules in it, or not, only the junior high does?
Only the junior high.
We may come back to you with a suggestion for an update, because I really think they should be the same with the bus issues we've had. But that being said, down the bottom of the junior high where it says cameras are on all buses, and I'd like it to be audio/video recordings will be used when appropriate. That legal counsel has made it clear that we need to spell out the audio piece, because that is our notifying them that they are being recorded. Otherwise, we're able to use the audio, and it's come in very handy to do that. So I just want to change that, and I think that statement needs to be on the high school side too. So whether we come back with an updated or add that line to the end of your added language, I don't care
All right,
which.
well, let's first get a motion on the table accepting the joint recommendations of the curriculum subcommittee and the superintendent. Motion's been made by Mrs. Randall. Is there a second? Seconded by Mrs. Noyes-Miller. So that's the junior high handbook changes plus the edit Deb just outlined. All right, discussion on that. Any objections?
So just to clarify, so this is without saying that we're adding it to the high school, adding the bus
The
policy?
vote's only on the
We haven't,
junior high.
this is just
end.
junior high. We haven't gotten to high
Just
school
junior
yet,
high.
just the junior high. Because the junior high already has the bus rules in it.
Right.
And we approved the bus rules earlier this school year, here. This letter went home to all parents in February, in November.
Right, but
The junior
we're
high.
voting to include it in the handbook.
Correct.
All right, further discussion on that. Junior high handbook changes in addition to the small edit Deb had. Any objection? Hearing none, by unanimous consent, the motion carries. I will now entertain a motion to accept the proposed changes of the handbook for the high school and the inclusion of the bus rules as recommended by the superintendent. Motion made by Mrs. Randall, seconded by Mr. Haggerty. Discussion on that, the proposed changes that are in front of you, plus adding the bus rules as Deb suggested.
Along with the audio-video statement too on this one, the change.
Because you do run by the same rules, right?
We sure do.
Yeah.
It should be the same.
It should be the identical, we agree.
Yeah, I mean.
I think
yeah,
that's implied because it's on top.
Yeah. Under the academic section on that second page, proposed language for the specific, we want that to be the 26,
We
27
will update
year.
the dates as a housekeeper, but I mean, we amend it.
You see where it's going in academics.
All right, further discussion on senior high. Any objection? By unanimous consent, the motion carries. We'll bring forward the student discipline proposal on first reading, JIC, recommendation of the bylaw subcommittee. We'll bring that to the floor. Discussion on that. No, I didn't, I'm just doing them in order of what she spoke to.
Okay.
No objections? By unanimous consent, JIC passes on first reading. The next policy is EFBA, school food and nutrition, meal modifications.
So this is a result of an audit we had with some, in our cafeterias, a couple of schools. And this was actually missing in our current policy, and they suggest that we actually have a meal modification policy in all of our schools. So we're bringing it forward to Tantasqua to start, and then we'll trickle down to the elementary school back. And it was part of the corrective action plan that we put forward.
All right, policy EFBA is a recommendation of the bylaw and policy subcommittee. Bring that to the floor. Discussion? Objections? Hearing none, and by unanimous consent on first reading, EFBA passes. All right, next is the JFE3 technical admissions policy. You speaking to this or Jamie?
Oh, yeah, so this is This goes along with all of the deadlines we had to meet in the fall with the competency determination and admissions policy. And we had an admissions policy here back in 2022, I believe, that we rescinded because it had the application piece as the policy. Now they're asking that we actually put in language what we are doing in the technical school to admit students. So Jamie and I, and along with her subcommittee, went through the policy as it's designed by the regulations, and this is the policy we put before you. We put it forward with the DESE. You got some feedback recently to say that it looks good, right?
Yeah, so our contact, Latoya Tavernier, reached out and said if you didn't hear anything, then you're probably good to go.
Yeah,
And we weren't missing much.
We weren't missing much. We had a couple dates that we had to put in. So this policy is just coming back without the application piece. It's the language that we had in there years ago, and we just fine-tuned it to work with the regulations that we need today.
It became more inclusive for students that are homeschooled
Yes.
and students that are school choice. So we just had to make sure that they were being received as in-district students underneath there.
So the way I read this is if you're being homeschooled through grade 7 and then you make a decision, or through grade 8, and you make a decision that you want to go to the technical school, you'll be treated the same as if you had been a student in this
Correct.
building.
In the
That
eighth
is
grade.
correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the other question I had, the component of it that I read around, what the hell was it? School counselor from the sending school, so for tech tuition students, the requirements on the school counselors to confirm student track, grade for promotion, et cetera. Do you ever run into an issue where the sending school is not responsive?
No, that is essentially built in for the Chapter 70 schools, where their programs were not responsive prior to kind of the push of the lottery system.
Okay, that makes more sense. Thank you. All right, we have a recommendation from bylaw and policy to move JFE3 forward on first reading. Doesn't require a second, so I'll bring that to the floor for consideration. Is there any further discussion on that? Are there any objections? Hearing none, by unanimous consent, the motion carries. First reading, yeah, all of them were. All right. Don't believe we have a negotiations update,
No.
at least not with this committee. Building and physical plant? No meeting?
They've tried 3 times.
Yeah, I know I missed the last one.
Yeah.
Set it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Or
think
maybe
we
just 2. I think there's been
We haven't had a
2
quorum at
strikes.
the last
Correct.
2 attempts, so no report.
Try again.
All right, Mrs. Boyd, anything further from you?
No, it was really about budget, and updating you all on the legislative activity of the with the budget, and we'll be watching it closely.
Wonderful. 2 items under communication. One was distributed electronically, the other is the MASS graduation requirements position.
Yep, just your FYI to see, there's still a lot of chatter, a lot of action on the graduation, the proposed graduation requirements. So this is a statement from MASS. MASC will probably be spitting one out soon too. Again, I think this is what I've said last month and the month before. A bulk of the recommendations are reasonable and things that we're either already doing or in line to, but some of them are going to involve the need for more money, more staff, and that's coming into play. And so the statements are starting to be made that if you're going to make a recommendation for something, it better be a funded mandate, not an unfunded mandate.
Amen. All right, we've tackled new business, public access, open forum. Entertain a motion for adjournment. Motion's been made by Mrs. Noyes Miller. Is there a second? Second by Mrs. Alvin. All those in favor of the motion to adjourn will say aye. Aye. Motion carries. We're adjourned at 6:56 p.m. See you in a couple of weeks. Remember, we start in the cafeteria of the junior high before the public hearing, and then we'll transition here for our regular meeting. Thanks, everybody.